Factsverse presents Man asleep for 19 years wakes up and reveals the horrifying truth and sets the record straight. Jan Grzebski was living beneath communism. Basic things like food and toilet paper were being rationed as the Cold War hung over Eastern Europe. While life wasn't easy, Jan made a good living. He cared for his wife and children, and this was strange since good work was just as scarce as a decent potato. In 1988, something happened that changed Jan's life forever. We'll tell you his story, but first, help us spread the word about Factsverse by clicking the like button, and also be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future videos. Jan was born in 1942 in Poland. Early in his life, things were tough. His country was trying to free itself from Germany. In 1945, when the war ended, Poland fell behind Russia's Iron Curtain. Despite communism and all the hardships that went along with it, Jan somehow managed to make a place for himself in the world. He got a good job, working on a railroad as a track and train repairman. His job was so good that it made a young woman in the neighborhood notice him. Jan and his wife Gertruda met when they were in their late teens, and they both say that it was love at first sight. Jan proved to Gertruda that he could provide for her and a family, and the two got married. They went on to have 4 children together. In 1988, Jan was working on the railroad. He was on a passenger train checking to be sure the car's connectors were all working correctly. He noticed that one of the connectors was buckling, so he went to fix it, and when he reached down, he tried to reset it. He hit his head on the train, and the blow sent him flying off the train onto the tracks. His co-workers found him unconscious and unresponsive. They took him to the hospital, where it was determined that he had some severe internal injuries. When they checked his head for injury, they found he had a 5-centimeter brain tumor. They didn't think that he would survive, and they were sure that he would not come out of the coma. Year after year, Gertruda cared for Jan. With the help of nurses, she fed him, bathed him, and moved him around so that he wouldn't get bed sores. She also prayed for him. She waited patiently for her husband to wake up so that she could speak to him once more. Finally, the day Gertruda prayed for did come. It was 19 years after the accident that Jan finally woke up. When he opened his eyes, the first thing he saw was his wife, and they both cried. While everyone was thrilled that Jan woke up, they weren't sure how he did so. The doctors said he would never recover. According to the doctors, Jan's aging body caused the tumor to shrink over time. When there was no more pressure on his brainstem, he woke up. He was happy to be awake, but he was also shocked to see what the world was like in 2007. Things were much different than what he remembered in 1988. He couldn't believe that Poland was no longer a communist country. His 4 kids grew up and he had 11 grandchildren. He told the local news that when he went into the coma, the only thing in stores were tea and vinegar, and the meat was rationed. He says that he was shocked to see people walking down the street talking on cell phones. He said that the number of things that you could buy in a store made his head spin. When the story came out in the news, though, the reporters added plenty of things that were not true. They wanted Jan's ordeal to seem even worse than it actually was. What the news did not report was worse than Jan's explanation. He says that he was in the coma for only 4 of those 19 years. When he woke up, he was still paralyzed and mute. He had an idea of what was going on in the world because there was a TV in the room. He says his family would talk to him, but he couldn't talk back. He tried, but couldn't let them know that he could hear them. His wife took him to family gatherings hoping that he would wake up. Finally, after 19 years, he could finally communicate and he was learning to walk again. Sadly, a year after waking up completely, Jan's tumor progressed and he died. At least this time, though, he got to say goodbye to his family and he got to tell the truth about what really happened. This man was asleep for 19 years, woke up and revealed the horrifying truth and set the record straight. Subscribe for more!